Blitz! It's another match preview. We welcome you as we look ahead to Sheffield United versus Newcastle United. This is a Sunday 4:30 p.m. kickoff at Bramall Lane. Before we get into team news and predictions, let's look back on the previous Blades game away at Tottenham, the most ridiculous match since the one before that. The latest winning comeback in Premier League history. I can't figure this out. Is anyone having a nice time? Are you having a nice time? Is this good? Is this bad? Are we bad? Is that you, John Wayne? Is this me? Congratulations to Tottenham and the referee, James Maddison, who I thought had an excellent game. But like rescuing your mother-in-law from a fall in the bath, it only took 12 minutes, but they were harrowing, uncomfortable for everyone. And by the end of it, no one knew exactly what to say or where to look. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Sheffield United 1. Next up, we host Newcastle, known as the Magpies. I was looking for similarities between Newcastle United supporters and the humble bird, the magpie. Wikipedia says this: they are particularly well known for their songs and were once popular. I suppose the only difference is the birds are often associated with silverware. Right, let's talk about the side that could face Newcastle. Ollie McBurnie is out. He's suspended for one game after that second yellow in the 300th minute against Tottenham. That couldn't be appealed. That's the case with second yellows. George Baldock expected to be out due to a calf problem. However, you never know with these sorts of things. Egan was out for Tottenham. We do know that because it happened in the past. 𝗍𝗶𝗶𝗏 was asked if he was frustrated that Egan travelled with Ireland and played in both of their games. 𝗍𝗶𝗏𝗏 explained, yeah, obviously, if he hadn't played, he'd have been fit, but we can't dictate to teams. It's an international break and they take priority. We have to live with the consequences. John is a proud Irishman. I never had that opportunity to play international football. I would have loved to play for England, but wasn't good enough. End quote. I like 𝗍𝗶𝗏𝗏𝗏. He is a very refreshing manager in terms of the way that he speaks. He tells it as it is. I know a lot of his comments post-Tottenham were kind of taken, certainly in the wrong context. You know, he wasn't saying that time wasting was the reason Sheffield United lost. He's more just pointing out the fact that referees shouldn't be dictating the way that a team is to play, with referee Peter Banks certainly a suggestion, an implication that he may have told our goalkeeper Wes Foderingham to kick it long rather than play it short to speed things up, otherwise risk a second yellow. Speaking of Foderingham, the team for Newcastle could well be Foderingham in goal, Bogle, Anel, Egan back potentially, Jack Robinson, Luke Thomas, who I thought looked very, very good in the defensive side of things. Norwood, Souza, Hamer. Do you think then McAtee feeding Cameron Archer? Would you like to see the pace of Traore in there as well? Your first 11 is welcome in the comments, as always. We are pleased to announce that this season of the Sheff United Way, we're sponsored by Greene King Sports, where football is more than a game. Greene King Sports venues are showing every televised Sheffield United fixture over the course of the season. So instead of turning the internet for a dodgy stream, get your mates together, get down to your local Greene King pub and get closer to the action. Greene King Sports have just recently launched the Greene King Sports Instagram page, which will be home to fan content, deals and competitions throughout the season. Drop them a follow, and you won't just be the first to know about all this, you'll be helping out the Sheff United Way YouTube channel as well. To away team news, well, Newcastle United boss Eddie Howe has some injury headaches to deal with. He'll be again without key midfield pair Joe Willock and Joe Ellington, or Joe Linton if you want to say it incorrectly, and must decide how best to use his options in the middle of the park. Sandro Tonali returned from muscle problem. He started against AC Milan, or Milan. Javier Manquillo, or Manquillo, likely to be left out, and Emil Krafth still recovering from injury. Newcastle play a 4-3-3. Pope in goal. Trippier, Shah, Botman. No. Burn. Oh, remember when we were linked with Dan Burn forever? Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes. Oh, what a name. Tonali, maybe. Do you think Anderson might play? I don't know. Murphy, perhaps Callum Wilson gets the nod there. Alexander Isak. You've maybe got Anthony Gordon in there as well. You could possibly see Barnes, Almiron, any of those from the start, or, as they have been in recent games, from the bench. If we're talking about the opposition, and we are, Opposition View, created by Roy's View, you can see what Newcastle United fans are saying prior to this one. Go to roysview.com. Here's some quotes from Newcastle fans. Think we will win. It's a quote. Just a win will be fine and fully braced for it, not to be free-flowing. Chances galore and are hiding, though. Strong chance we could boss possession and chances. 3 points a must here, could potentially define the season. Lose, draw, and then go out in the League Cup in the same week could potentially cause chaos. It's good to see that even with all the money, Newcastle United fans are still as pessimistic as the rest of us. How do these set up? I was going to predict a relatively easy win, but then I thought back to games against Bournemouth and Leeds, where they just parked the bus and we couldn't really get behind them. Another game of struggling to break down a parked bus. Gotta be fun. McBurney is out for these, their only competent striker. Final quote. Probably not as good of a thing as it may first seem. Probably means Traore comes in for him, talking about McBurney being out. I'd much rather see our back line up against a McBurney type as opposed to two quick players willing to run in behind. So there you go. Some quotes there, and maybe we do want to see two fast players running in behind. I want to give a shout out to 𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗲, a virtual band. Many of their members are Blades. They've got a new album out called Ouroboros, available wherever you listen to music. There's even songs featured about Sheffield. Graves is about Graves Park, for example. You imagine walking through there, some magical quality to Graves Park. I think we can all agree. So 𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗲.com, and that's 𝗵𝗿𝗿𝗶𝗿𝗄𝐿.com, as you can see, for more information. Now, the referee for Sheffield United against Newcastle United is Stuart Atwell from Nuneaton. He went to the same university as me. That's not interesting. Last season, he took charge of 29 games, issuing 104 yellows, which is low, 4 red cards. Only one was a straight red. That's low. And he gave 6 penalties. That's 6. I mean, that's just a number. He refereed our 3-0 FA Cup semi-final defeat to Manchester City last season, where he did give a penalty. This will be his second Newcastle game in a row. He reffed the Magpies at Brighton. We all know what happened there. He also did referee the Blades against Newcastle in 2019. Yeah, that 𝗍𝐵𝐵𝐿 goal. Oh, I was pretty steaming after that one. Apoplectic with rage, I think would be a good way of describing it. Although by many accounts, got it right. I just remember thinking, this isn't how I want football played. Let's look at player connections in association with NordVPN. NordVPN.com/TSUW for a hefty discount. Keep your devices malware free and your browsing safe from strangers' eyes. Wayne Quinn played for the Blades, then Newcastle. David Edgar played for Newcastle, then the Blades. Des Hamilton was on loan at Sheffield United from Newcastle and looked very good, former Bradford midfielder, and of course the late great Gary Speed. Who can you think of? I don't think there's that many, certainly not in recent years, that played for Newcastle as well as the Red and White Wizards. Big shout out to our members. If you'd like to support us, click join as you watch on YouTube. Let's do StatCat. Sensational statage. Sheffield United play Newcastle for the 7th time in history on this corresponding weekend of the season. I mean, what are the odds of that? So that's 7 times in September, kind of 23rd to 27th. We've played Newcastle in our history. We've had a home draw, an away loss, a home draw, an away loss, a home win, and a home win. So I don't read anything into that. But with 2 wins and 2 draws in the previous 4 home games, I think the signs are good. Our very own statsman Adam says 0 draws in the last 12 with 9 Newcastle wins to our 3. Last draw being Statman Adam's birthday in February. Febtember. That's a better word for it. 1990, 1-1 at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. Blades 1 draw in 29 Premier League games. So history suggests a winner and not a draw. However, I'm going to ignore that. I think another difficult match made all the more difficult by added time. This absurd added time league that we're now playing in, 5 subs I don't like, multi-millions that we can only dream about coming off the bench for the away side. I believe we'll give a really good account of ourselves like we do every single game. The effort will be there. The application will be there. The desire will be there. But I think this could be a frustrating 1-1 draw. I think it will have impacted Newcastle travelling to Italy. That could play into our hands, and I think we'll get a 1-1 draw. It'll be tougher without McBurney, naturally, for that ridiculous situation that we're still talking about. But let me know your score prediction in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, and remember that hate and inequality based on skin colour is something we need to fight against every single day. We stand with Wes.